All right, all right. We're going to have a good session today. Normally I'm talking about, stats, I'm talking about market update stuff, I'm talking about what is happening in the villages, what's going on around Florida. If you're thinking about moving to the villages, you're thinking about retiring, you think about selling, think about buying. We talk about the trends not only in the villages but what's going on around Florida and around the country and how that impacts us. And today we've got a special guest, Ashley Murphy from Certified Home Inspectors of Florida. Yes, Ashley.
Hi,
And Ashley,
everybody.
yeah, so Ashley's going to talk about, home inspection. We get this occasionally where sometimes buyers waive a home inspection, and it's the last thing we ever want because I think anytime we've seen this where somebody waives a home inspection, there's usually an issue, like something pops up and so we don't like that. But there's still going to be some people out there that think, okay, is a home inspection a waste of money and a waste of time?
Mhm.
So Ashley, give us your elevator speech as to why having a home inspection it actually is a good idea.
All right. Well, so I look at it this way. In the same way, I am not going to purchase a product from the internet or even in person without checking out its reviews, whether it's $1 or $100. The same way, I'm not going to buy a used car without taking it to my mechanic to look at and make sure that it is mechanically sound. Purchasing a home or real estate is the biggest investment someone's going to make in their life. So I'm going to have a professional come in and give me a professional opinion or a professional eye on the story of the home, what's happening in the home, and just kind of give me a review overall of what I'm expecting when I make this purchase. And every day we're seeing people come that have in this day and time purchasing homes without looking at them in person, maybe doing just a video walkthrough or even just buying them online. I've talked to people who buy houses sight unseen. It's just a smart thing to do is to protect your investment the best you can. And considering a home inspection is less than 1% of what most houses cost, the price for what you get, it's well worth it.
So what is the typical home inspection? You have tiers of home inspection. So tell us the differences between one type of inspection and another.
Okay, so you're going to get a full home inspection. It's going to give you a full story of the home. It's of course going to cover all your major components such as your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC, and your roof. But then the full home inspection is also going to check your appliances, if that's included in the home. It's going to check for cracks in the walls. It's going to check for maintenance items that could be or are no big deal, but something we're going to suggest that, hey, you might want to look at this because it might not be a big deal now, but if you don't maintain it, it could be a big deal in the future. A home inspection is going to come and it's going to be 45 pages, give or take. Sometimes that freaks people out, to be perfectly honest, but really it's just because we are going to be thorough and inspect the home from foundation to roof and all of the, elements in between to make sure that it's running properly. And if it's not, we're going to call it out and let you know. That way, when you purchase it, you know what's happening in the home, or you can use it as a tool to negotiate with, if that's what you tend to do.
So is
Oh,
there a
then I'm
is
sorry.
there a short version of the inspection?
There is. So there's also a 4-point inspection. So that's going to cover your four main components of the home. So your electrical, your HVAC, your plumbing, and your exterior life expectancy of the roof. A lot of insurance companies are requiring these on older homes of a certain age. I've seen it as little as 10 years old, requiring a 4-point inspection. That varies for insurance companies, but that's going to cover your four major components. It won't be as detailed. So if we call something out as being maybe unsatisfactory in that, it's not going to necessarily give it as detailed as a full home inspection would, but that would be a bare minimum of a home inspection, I would
So,
say.
so your 4 point, right? Like, so the home inspection, all right, I'm a buyer from, Ohio, and I'm trying to buy a home sight unseen,
Hmm.
or even if I'm in the villages, I'm in Florida, I want to buy a home, the
Yep.
full home inspection makes sense. And obviously there's going to be a summary, right? Like there's a summary
Correct.
to kind of
Yep.
narrow
General
down
summary. Yep.
the 40 plus pages, and obviously
Hmm.
pictures, and there's going to be an explanation of what's there.
Yes.
And some recommendations on maybe talking to a certified, a certified roofer or
Yep.
plumber for more information. We're not sure. We think there could be an issue, but check on it
Hmm.
just in
Hmm.
case. The 4 point is, are you getting a lot of calls for 4 point? Because we know like there's a lot of roofing issues and hot
Hmm.
water heater, blah, blah, blah. There's like stuff going on with insurance right now. What are you seeing on that end? What are you seeing?
We are getting calls for 4 points constantly, because, again, most your insurance companies are requiring them right now, and even on newer homes where for a while there they weren't. 4 points and wind mitigations are being booked now more than they ever have been, I think, because insurance companies are protecting themselves more because there's been roofing incidents. Also, of course, we live in Florida, so wind can be a thing. But they just want to know to protect themselves that these four major components, which can have the highest cost of repair, are functioning properly. And many of them aren't insuring their clients if they're not satisfactory.
So is that typically coming from, is that a call from a realtor, a homeowner, or an insurance company, typically when we're talking about the 4 point?
So we work with all three of them. Sometimes we have insurance companies that refer their clients to us to get a 4 point. Maybe somebody called them for a quote and the house is 1995, and they're like, hey, we need a 4 point done on this house, get a wind mitigation. They just got a new roof as well. So we will do that for insurance companies. But when somebody calls us for a home inspection or an agent calls us for a home inspection, depending on the flexibility of their lender requirements, we're going to tell them about these services and offer them, and then also suggest, hey, as you're getting quotes, ask your insurance company, are you going to need a 4 point inspection? Are you going to need a wind mitigation? If you do, let's go ahead and get that while we're there. That way, you're not paying a double trip fee, or paying that for that separately from
So,
your
so,
home inspection.
so you're basically saying, okay, you're thinking about buying a home in the villages, that's a good question to ask the insurance company. What are you going to need, right?
Yes, absolutely.
While
Insurance,
you're at it, while you're at the home,
yes.
right? This is something that you guys can do.
Yes, absolutely. And that's going to save you money in the long run because you're going to pay for it as a package deal as opposed to paying for each inspection separately, which in many cases that's going to save you money because it's a one hit.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, no, ask them. And also, we've been noticing it coming from even lenders. VA lending has tightened up their lender requirements big time. They're requesting wind mitigations, 4 point inspections, and WDOs on almost every single loan that we've spoke to. So we've also been asking them to ask their lenders, what's your requirement for home inspections?
So talk about the wind mitigation. How does that differ for the people that are out there? Because people that are watching this are, we're talking about the general public. They're not in the business, and
Sure.
maybe they've heard it. They've heard, wind mit and whatever, but what is it really?
So the wind mitigation, just to recap really quick. So the 4 point inspection is going to go over your electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and the exterior life expectancy of the roof. And so in that case, that'll cover all that. A wind mitigation, which is not necessarily required by a lot of insurance, but can save you money up to 5 years. A wind mitigation is good for 5 years. And so adding it on, you call your insurance company, say, hey, if I get a wind mitigation, will it save me money? They're going to tell you yes or no at that time. And then at that point, you can get it. So wind mitigation gives you the internal construction of the roof. They're going to go, our guys will go up in the attic and they're going to give you how the roof is constructed as a whole. It's going to talk about tie downs or straps, staples, and then it's going to also give you the weakest and strongest points of the roof from the inside. Now, you and I, or even the people watching this, they're going to look at this document and it could look like gibberish to them. But to an insurance, a homeowner insurance company, it's something that can give them a lot of information about the roof, how it's going to hold up in high winds, and save them a ton of money over a 5-year period.
Is there ever a time that a home inspection is not needed?
I can't think of a time where I would not get a home inspection. So
Even and it's interesting. Let me say this. I've even recommended on new construction.
okay, so let's talk new construction. We do something called an 11-month warranty home inspection. So
Yeah.
somebody buys a new home in 12 months, they get their warranties up for that year. And that's case by case. A lot of new homes give you that 12-month warranty, not all of them. So in 11 months, we come out, we do a home inspection to see for those people maybe that have foregone the home inspection because they bought a new house. So we come out, inspect it, then they can turn that inspection over to their builders and have them fix what they're willing to fix under the warranty. But we do new build constructions. I just had an agent actually I talked to the other day. She told me that when she built her new home, her agent recommended to her, you have a new home, it's a new build, you do not need a home inspection. Everything's under warranty. So here she is. She moved into this new home. She lived there for a year and had noticed for that year her electric bill was really high for a new home. So she ended up having somebody come out to evaluate why her electric bill is so high. Well, come to find out, after living in this home for a year, the builder did not insulate the attic. So that is something that would have been caught and found on a home inspection if she would have done it ahead of time, saving her who knows how much money on that electric bill over that year. So again, I feel like the cost to the service, it's going to weigh out whether you have a new home, an old home, a medium home, all of it. It's protect your investment. That's what you're doing. So I would always suggest, even on new construction, especially with how fast some of these houses go up, get a home inspection.
So what's the? I have to ask you this. What's the craziest house or particular event that you had to be involved in as far as home inspections?
Oh goodness. Probably one we just dealt with recently. The house had been vacant a long time. Oh my goodness, I'm probably going to get some kind of feedback from this, I'm sure. The house
Don't
had been
mention any
vacant.
names. Don't mention any names. A lot of people watch
I'm
this.
not going to mention any agents, no names, no addresses. So the house had been vacant a long time. Somebody was buying it, so we get called out to inspect it. The guys get there and the windows are busted out. They go in there and there's people's stuff everywhere. Fleas jumping all over their legs. And at that point, I mean, for safety reasons, they called the cops, they called the agents, and they left. And then the agent had to get it mitigated. And then we, of course, went out and re-inspected. But
Surprise,
that was probably one of
surprise.
the craziest things I had ever heard of.
Yes, yes, yes. Happens. It does happen sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't even, I was like, what? They were like, yeah, the windows are all busted out. And I was like, are you kidding?
Do you ever? I know. Well, I know the answer to this question, but how often do you guys re-inspect? Right, like you'll inspect.
Hmm.
There's a list of things that need to be repaired in
Hmm.
the in the standard contract or even in the as is, where people say, "Yeah, I'm going to fix this, this, and this."
Hmm.
How often do you go back and re-inspect?
We do that often, especially for your 4 points in, your 4 point inspection. So people get a 4 point, and on it will say unsatisfactory. So it will mark off each point, or satisfactory. So if it's unsatisfactory, you go to bind insurance. That insurance company is going to be like, I need this to say satisfactory. So in that case, you would have to go back to the seller or talk to whoever's buying it to fix it, so we can go back out and re-inspect it to make sure that those components are functioning as they should be, and these people can get insurance on this home in that case. That's something else I always tell people, tell agents, like, make sure you're telling your clients, do not send a full home inspection to your insurance company. Don't tell your clients, don't do it. It's has way too much information for them.
Yeah,
Just they don't
yeah,
need all that. 4 point only. But we are doing make, because especially if somebody buys it, they talk to the seller, hey, this was wrong, your expensive items, your safety hazards. And then you buy it, you talk to within that inspection window, they fix it. We're going back out there. They hire us to go back out there to make sure it's done and done correctly, as opposed to just sitting on their word like, hey, no, it's fixed, don't worry about it. No, we want to make sure it's done. We're third party credibility for agents
yeah.
and clients.
It's a little bit of an insurance policy, right? Like before
Correct.
you
Yep.
close on this, let's find out what's wrong with it, and let's find out if they really actually repaired it properly. And I'm
Right.
seeing here, Land Girl actually asked, would I need it for a new home in the villages? I still recommend it. Like new, everybody thinks new, it's going to be
Hmm.
perfect,
Hmm.
and you have a third party that's looking at it. It's
Yes.
not attached to the outcome.
Yep.
And based on your story with it with insulation, there are mistakes that have been made, and
Hmm.
you know you may not find out for 3 to 4 to 5 years. Like, oh my God, they never put this, and there may not be any recourse after that point.
Yes, yeah. By that point, the builder's gonna say, "Okay, you had your year,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
missed out." And people don't have a trained eye to see that stuff. I talk to people every day, especially I mentioned those people earlier. We got a lot of people moving to Florida, a lot of people moving to the villages. Come on. Um, I talk to them, and maybe they haven't even seen the home in person, or they do a video walkthrough. And I asked them, okay, great, let's book your inspection. Do you have any notes you want me to make for the inspector? Something that you've seen in your video walkthrough, or even something that you've seen while you were down here and did your walkthrough? Anything, maybe you saw a spot on the wall in a picture. Do you want me to know him to look at that spot on the wall and see if it's a nail mark, or if it's, a hole? And some of them will say, "Oh no, that's fine," or check out the air condition and see the year and this, and so stuff we're going to look at anyway. But a lot of people don't even know what to ask at that point, because they don't have the trained eye to look for the cost of the costly repairs, the safety hazards, the stuff that's going to fail them on insurance. And that's what our guys are certified and trained to do, because they do it every single day, but they've also gone through all the schooling to do it.
How many inspectors do you have now?
5.
Nice.
Yeah. It,
Excellent.
I, it makes us a good choice for any kind of last minute bookings. We had somebody call us the other day. They were supposed to be closing on Monday, and they did not book through us originally. They're closing on Monday. Their client missed their water test. And so I had to drive all the way out to Williston to pick up a water test from one of the guys that was out there and bring it back, because we're trying to help them. We're here for you guys. We're here for the clients. We want to help. We know that a real estate transaction is on a time limit. And this is one piece of the big pie. One piece of the big pie. And our job in it is to make it as simple as possible for you and your clients.
Oh, that makes sense. That does make sense. What are we missing? Anything that we need to tell the public right at the moment?
I mean, protect your investment. I think we went over that. And the way I look at it, because I hear it all the time, like on the qualified report, I joke about this. People always say, why do you recommend a qualified contractor come out and look at it? So when you think of the cost of a home inspection, think about foregoing it and then having a plumber come out separately, having an electrical guy come out separately, having an HVAC guy come out separately, having a roofing person come out separately. Once you start adding in those 4 different types of contractors, I mean, you're looking at upwards of a couple grand or more just to tell you what's wrong, not to fix any issues that come up. A home inspector is basically in this world a primary care physician, a general doctor that's going to come in and tell you, okay, this is wrong, this is fine and running as it should be, and then at this point we're going to send you to the specialist that you need to see. And in the long run, it is going to weigh out the cost. It's going to be, you're going to have a greater return on investment, or the cost is going to be outweigh the service. The service is going to outweigh the cost by far. By far.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Ashley, how do people find you?
You can find us on all the socials. So we're on Facebook, certifiedhomeinspector.com, or Certified Home Inspectors on Facebook of Florida, Certified Home Inspectors of Florida on Facebook. We're on Instagram, CHIOFL. You can find us on CHIOFL.com or CertifiedHomeInspectorsofFlorida.com. Email me at ashleymurphy@CHIOFL.com. Or the good old fashioned way, pick up the phone, 352-390-6220.
So I have one more question. You thought you were done, but you're not.
Okay.
How often do people do like pre-listing inspections before they put
Not
on?
enough. Not enough at all.
Mhm.
I do a lot of lunch and learns, and I talk to a lot of agents personally, meet and just kind of try to help educate them on how they can work closely with their inspectors. And I feel like that is a service that's not taken advantage of enough. If you're about to list a home for not very much money, you can either know what that inspector is going to find so you can put it in your seller disclosure, or fix it before you do it, because once somebody sees a problem, it doesn't matter if that's a couple $100 problem. In their mind, that value is going to drop big time. And it could be something so simple as replacing a microwave, but they're like, oh no, I need thousands of dollars off on this house now because that microwave don't work, or my dishwasher's broke. Something so simple that could have been fixed ahead of time, earning, earning the seller more profit, and nipping any kind of objections that can come up in a home inspection once the house does start selling. But definitely needs to be taken advantage of more, well worth the investment.
Makes sense. Your phone number one more time.
352-390-6220.
Ashley, thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Glenn.
Take care.
You too.